from across the globe. Today is Tuesday, June 30th. The June 30th anti-immigrant deadline in South Africa is here, and Nigeria is racing to bring its citizens home with 271 Nigerians on an air peace evacuation flight expected to land in Lagos this morning. And over in London, four-time Grand Slam champion Naomi Osaka has made a stunning Wimbledon debut, winning her first round match in a breathtaking kimono-inspired outfit that sold out online before she even stepped on the court. Let's dive right in. I'm OjyOkpe, and this is what's trending. Now, before we dive deeper, let's see what you're talking about right now. We've been tracking conversations on X, Facebook, our YouTube live feed, and of course, Leke. And three stories are dominating your timelines this morning. Trending at number one, RCCG General Overseer, Pastor Enoch Adeboye, is defending President Bola Ahmed Tinubu over Nigeria's worsening insecurity, saying those blaming the president are being unfair, and Nigerians are fiercely divided over his comment. Trending at number two, catastrophic floods are swallowing communities across Lagos, from Bagada to Mushin to parts of Lagos Island, with scores of residents stranded and struggling to save their property. And Nigerians are asking the same question they ask every rainy season: when would Lagos fix its flooding crisis? Now, trending at number three, a Nigerian trader known as Big Joe has been shot dead outside his shop in South Africa just 2 days before the June 30th anti-migrant deadline set by extremist groups. Nigerian communities across South Africa are now in fear. Now, here is where you come in. Join the conversation. Use the hashtag What's Trending with OjyOkpe. Comment on our live feed, and of course, Leke. Tell me which of these stories matters most to you, because for the next hour, we're going into everything that has Nigeria and the rest of the world buzzing. But first, massive anti-immigrant protests are rocking Soweto as thousands march against legal immigration ahead of the June 30th deadline, which is today. Let's watch.
South Africa. We, community of Great Soweto at large, are gathered here today to present a memorandum of demand in relation to the question of illegally foreign immigrants in our community, conducting illegally operation, committing various crime activities that are difficult to trace and identify due to the mask identity because of identify and recognize.
I am in Soweto and Johannesburg with some anti-migrant protesters. This is the final day before the unofficial June 30th deadline for undocumented migrants to leave South Africa, and they've been walking around these streets, some of them singing songs celebrating Zulu pride and asking undocumented migrants to leave South Africa. They insist that they're not xenophobic, they're not Afrophobic. They want South African law to be respected. And they feel, some of them told me, that African migrants have taken over South Africa. They're criminals, that they are damaging their country, and it's time for them to go back and fix their own countries. The June 30th deadline set by anti-immigrant groups is here.
And the scenes in Soweto this morning are deeply unsettling. These are not peaceful civic demonstrations. These are marches explicitly designed to intimidate foreign nationals into leaving, backed by groups that have openly threatened violence if their demands are not met. President Cyril Ramaphosa and the police have deployed security across Soweto and Johannesburg, and authorities have made arrests and issued strong warnings against violence. But here is the uncomfortable truth. South Africa has seen these assurances before. In 2019, similar promises were made, and Nigerians still came home in body bags and on air peace evacuation flights. What makes today different is the scale. Hundreds of thousands of foreign nationals have already fled. Businesses have closed. Streets that were once vibrant are empty, and the economic consequences are already being felt across Johannesburg and Pretoria. Yet, the marches continue. Good morning, Dr. Abati. Good morning, Ayo.
Good morning.
Good morning, Rufai. The marches continue. We have seen these protests for months now in South Africa. And you know, today what broke my heart is this story. In the wake of the anti-migrant protests in South Africa, a Nigerian trader, popularly known as Big Joe, was shot dead outside his shop in Witbank on Sunday. His lifeless body was seen right in front of his shop, and the motive of the murder is still under investigation. But the timing has sent shockwaves through Nigerian communities across South Africa, with Nigerians online reacting with grief, anger, and deep concern. And I'll take a reaction from Andrew on X. He wrote, "These people aren't joking. I saw a video of them warning him last week to evacuate. Our lives are worth more than what we think it's worth." Vin wrote on X, "I hope South Africans will never have to seek greener pastures in other African countries, while some Africans, especially Nigerians, continue to face attacks, harassment, and intimidation in South Africa. No one should be mistreated because of their nationality. If this hostility continues, it could damage the spirit of African unity and eventually create consequences that none of us would want to see. Let's choose coexistence over hatred." BNB wrote, "This is heartbreaking. Every life matters, and no one should have to live in fear because of their nationality. Justice must be served, and xenophobic violence must end." Dr. Abati, I'd like your thoughts on this killing, actually, before I take this comment from the South African president.
Well, I think what is happening in South Africa, what has happened in South Africa, what may well still happen in South Africa hereafter, poses a threat to the idea of African integration. And it's also a very serious challenge for African Union, or if you like, the concept of unity among Africans. And it has taken South Africa, a country that benefited greatly from the idea of unity, look out for your brother, during what that country went through with regard to apartheid. It has taken that country to still remind us of how fragile the idea of African unity is. So the South Africans, they say they don't want anybody in their countries. The government tries to make a distinction between illegal migrants, undocumented migrants, and then also people who are in South Africa legally. But I don't think that the average South African, particularly those ones wearing ethnic Zulu attires with the spear that they carry, I don't think they understand any distinction. What they just want is that they don't want anybody in their country. They want a rainbow country, rainbow coalition country, to become an island unto itself. And in the process, they frustrate other Africans. Well, the government, as I said earlier, is complicit. And the security systems in South Africa are indifferent. In fact, the statement by their president, I said earlier today, was hypocritical, and that the government has not arrested anybody that we know of. Look at the time when they were going to medical facilities to stop non-South Africans from accessing even public hospitals. What did the South African government, what did they do? Nothing. There is nothing you will say to them. Go to social media South Africa. They are very toxic, even as recently as this morning.
Right.
And now they are murdering people. Big Joe. It was a summary execution.
Yes, that's the point.
And the government have not been identified. Right. How many more are they going to kill? Nigeria says we have brought 570-something out of the place. Over 1,000 volunteers to come home. After D-Day, midnight hour, this midnight hour today, what is going to happen to those other Nigerians that are still in South Africa now that there are protests in Johannesburg, Pretoria and elsewhere?
Yes, absolutely. And you made that point. Big Joe's killing was a summary execution. The young man just out there to make a living for himself, shot dead right in front of his store. May his soul rest in peace. Meanwhile, South African President Cyril Ramaphosa is calling on citizens to protest peacefully today, warning that violence and intimidation have no place in the country's democracy. In a statement to the nation on Monday, Ramaphosa explained that while South Africans' concerns are real and deserve to be heard, it does not justify intimidating others or engaging in acts of vandalism, emphasizing that any criminal act will be held accountable under the law. The statement follows comments he made last week before the National Council of Provinces in Cape Town, where he declared there is no place for racism, xenophobia, or Afrophobia in South Africa. Let's take a look at that.
Every person within our borders must be here lawfully. We have also said that responsibility for enforcing our laws rests with the state and the state alone, and that no individual may stop any person to demand documentation or proof of identity or nationality. There is no place for racism in our country, no place for sexism, for xenophobia, for Afrophobia, or any other form of intolerance. As government, we have put in place security and other measures to deal with any attempts to destabilize our country, whether by citizens or foreign nationals, and we will not tolerate any attempts to destabilize the country by anyone, whether marching or otherwise. Our security forces are ready, and those who transgress the measures that we're putting in place will definitely meet the might of the law. Thank you, Honorable Chairperson.
Strong words from the South African president, but Nigerian communities have heard such words before. With the protests going on right now and a Nigerian shot dead, today is the day that determines whether Ramaphosa's government can match rhetoric with real protection. Meanwhile, the president of the National Association of Nigerian Students, Dr. Meshach Nwankwo, has sparked mixed reactions online, threatening to mobilize unlawful action to shut down South African-owned businesses if Nigeria, if xenophobic attacks are not addressed within 1 week. Nwankwo condemned the attacks in a statement on Monday, declaring that there is no place for hatred or violence amongst brothers and sisters or on the continent. Let's take a look.
We will also begin lawful action to ensure that South African-based businesses in Nigeria are shut down, and our headquarters will be relocated to the South African High Commission in Nigeria till the South African government takes definitive, comprehensive, lasting measures against this cancer that is threatening the lives and future of Nigerians in South Africa and of the greatest cohort. No one has the monopoly of wisdom. No one has the monopoly of violence. Should these concerns remain inadequately addressed within 1 week from this press statement, we reserve the constitutional rights to mobilize peaceful and lawful advocacy, including peaceful demonstrations and other democratic engagements in defense of the dignity and safety of Nigerian students and citizens.
Reactions have been mixed. And we've gotten some different comments online at this moment. But I want to come to you, Ayo, because we've seen these comments from the student union president. And, he's made these comments because of obviously what has just happened. Let me just take it. Now they have this post. This person wrote on X, South Africa is a sovereign state and not a province of Nigeria. As they close those businesses, they must equally use same energy to fetch their drug dealers, human traffickers from our country. We have had enough of their crimes, including 1,000 of Nigerians in our prisons. Like I said, reactions are mixed on this comment. I'd like your thoughts.
All right, let's all calm down. Let there be calm in the room. And I say this because we cannot build a continent this way. I said it before that the founding fathers, the pan-Africanists of old, would not have fought all they did for us to be in this manner. And that's why consistently my thought process has been why or how did we get to this point? Number one. Number two, how can we fix this? It is South Africa today, and if we wanted to reciprocate or retaliate, other countries can begin to say, oh, all South Africans go, or the undocumented. Do we have undocumented migrants in countries across Africa? Absolutely. In Nigeria, there are undocumented migrants. We saw some in Ogun State the other day. In Ghana, there are undocumented migrants. In Kenya, just across the continent. Should a country uphold the sovereignty by ensuring that those who are not there legally should regularize their stay or be deported? Absolutely. It's their sovereign right to do so. What is the criticism here is the manner in which it's being done and the fact that it's not a government-led initiative. It is a people-led initiative based on a lot of sentiments, one of which is that for economic reasons. When you have economic crisis in many countries, including the West, that's when you now begin to notice the differences and say, oh, the problem is migration, immigration is the problem. But you see the issue here, if South Africans do not recognize is this. Today, it is Nigeria and other countries, including Ghana, Zimbabwe, Malawi, and the likes. Tomorrow, when they are done chasing out the foreigners, they will start going after themselves. South Africa is a multi-ethnic country, multi-diverse. And we've seen it in other countries, and it's sad to go back to the case of Rwanda, but if they're not careful, they'll degenerate to that. Because once you have finished attacking the foreigners for taking your jobs, you now turn on yourselves, because already there's that disconnect to people feeling that the government favor a certain ethnic group. That is why we must nip this nonsense in the bud. And that is why there's criticism around the way that the president is tackling this. Today, I repeat myself, it is against other countries. Tomorrow, it will be amongst themselves when they've gotten rid, in quotes, of other countries. Right. It's literally like cutting off your nose to spite your face, because you have to remember that some of these migrants are not illegal, and some of them have contributed significantly to the economy of South Africa. On the issue of retaliation, and that's why I said calm heads, let's not jump into making statements that would further heat up the polity. Let us begin to have conversations as the young people on the African continent on how to make things better, what to do to improve the law of Africans living in other countries. That's my position. I don't think it does anybody any good for us to start saying kill their businesses, hurt their people. It's not going to get us anywhere. Like Professor Subanjo said earlier on, the richer nations know what they do. They work with themselves to make their nations more prosperous. What do we do on the African continent? Kill ourselves. The crab mentality. Hit ourselves where it hurts. Very bad.
Very, very bad. Rufai, reactions are trailing Miss Universe Nigeria, Chidinma Adeshina, the beauty queen and Miss Universe runner-up, who is now facing deportation from South Africa after she and her minor son were arrested earlier this month for allegedly living in Cape Town illegally. The Department of Home Affairs alleges that she entered South Africa through the Mozambique border, presenting herself as a South African citizen after being declared a prohibited person in 2024. Adeshina appeared before the Cape Town Regional Court and was released on warning, with the case now adjourned to July 16th. Interestingly, Rufai, she has reportedly laughed off the criticism online, responding to critics with memes. This is the same beauty queen whose citizenship controversy forced her to withdraw from Miss South Africa in 2024 before going on to represent Nigeria. Adesina's story keeps taking unexpected turns. But the good news is that some Nigerians stranded in South Africa are returning home, as the federal government of Nigeria has stepped up efforts to protect citizens with another evacuation flight. According to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, an Air Peace aircraft departed Nigeria on Monday and is expected to return to Lagos this morning with 271 Nigerians on board. The operation is part of a program approved by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu earlier this month to enable willing Nigerians to return home safely. This brings the total evacuated so far to nearly 600, following the first batch of 262 on June 11th, with a second batch of 66 on June 25th. Now, the evacuation is a welcome development. However, we're getting reports that fearful Nigerians in South Africa are seeking refuge at the Nigerian High Commission, with families gathering outside the building, waiting, anxious and uncertain. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs, in the same vein, has also urged Nigerians choosing to remain in South Africa to stay calm, avoid protest routes, and remain in close contact with the Nigerian Commission. The federal government says the evacuation program will continue as long as Nigerians wish to come home. Your thoughts on both stories, Adesina? And of course, I think this is a welcome development that we have, another set of evacuation, and the federal government is keeping their promise.
So the truth is, federal government is keeping their promise, yes, but the logistical nightmare was also there. And thank God for Air Peace that subsidized the money for them, which they don't get to do anything for that man in return for all he does for Nigeria. So let's just state that out there. Secondly, the additional story. I'm not saying if she's an illegal, she don't face the full wrath of the law. But the problem is just because additional carries the Nigerian blood. That's just it. And I would also like to make a categorical statement today that is very controversial. I believe the South African government is complicit in genocide and xenophobia and Afrophobia. And I'll tell you with my few reasons. Number one, the reaction has not been stern enough. Ralph Waldo Emerson famously said, "What you do speaks so loud I can't hear what you say." What the South African government has done is speaking so loud, I cannot hear the lame, hypocritical, puerile, shambolic rhetoric of Mr. Cyril Ramaphosa again. In one breath, you are saying people have a right to protest. No, they don't have a right to protest when you know the protest is going to lead to the loss of life of other Africans. What they are protesting for is against the grain of civility. They should not have that right to protest. If they are illegal immigrants, you leave them to the civil authorities in the country. So a protest that is supporting xenophobia, you say they have a right to protest. What kind of talk is that by Cyril Ramaphosa? These were the same people that benefited from the goodness of Nigeria when they were fighting the apartheid war. These were the same people that Nigeria spent billions of dollars to support them. Give them weapons, give them armory, give them all the things they used to fight. And you're saying they have a right to protest. Protest what nonsense? They don't have a right to protest when you know their protest is xenophobic, is hateful protest. So enough of all of this. And it's time to call a spade a spade. And they too will face their own, Ayo. Don't worry. They will face their own. You see these ones? They are disgruntled, oppressed people, oppress others. They will start killing themselves. Anyway, it's not what am I even saying? It's not that the South Africans have been killing themselves. They've been killing themselves because their country has failed them. So please, it should be on record. And thirdly, see, if Africa unity want to scatter, it should scatter. We're laughing, we're. We cure madness by being mad too. My own form of madness is it is time Nigeria reports the South African government. There's complicity by the South African government. And I keep saying this thing. I disagree with those saying the South African government has got nothing to do with it. Was there not a South African king mentioned in all of this?
Yes.
Why has the South African government not arrested the leaders of this protest? And you are saying we should keep quiet. By now, we should be dragging South Africa as a nation to the ICJ or the ICC or whatever international institution. The South African government is complicit. The blood of what's that man's name, Big Joe,
yes,
is on the South African government.
Yes.
Why can't they bring out the killers? So let's stop deceiving us. We're laughing, we're I don't believe in violence, but by now Nigeria should be taking sterner measures against South Africa. Enough of the talking. Is it today we've been talking? Is it today we've been talking? Ordinary what's it called, white people that went to lobby and wrote message to Trump in South Africa, that Trump started bringing them out of South Africa. See the way Ramaphosa had to go to America and be putting his hands there, and Trump was lashing him with a lot of fake news, and he was doing that, and he was doing his head like this, he was shaking like jelly. Were we not there? As Ramaphosa, why has he not come to Nigeria to talk to us? We're laughing, enough of all this rubbish.
Right.
Enough of all this rubbish.
All right.
The South African government is complicit.
All right. Thank you, Rufai. And we told you we will be reading your comments. And I'll take Ojuku's post on Leke Leke. He wrote, no matter our nationality, every person deserves to live without fear of violence. South Africa, like many other countries, faces unemployment, crime, and economic hardship. These concerns deserve serious attention and effective policies which targeting people because of where they come from can never be the solution. Xenophobia only deepens division and suffering. Hopefully, South Africans will be contented in their country and never seek refuge elsewhere in the future. I mean, I thought that we were over this sort of expulsion of Africans from African nations. This is unfair. This is unrealistic.
And they need to stop. Is it that Ramaphosa and South African government say they don't know where these leaders of these protests are?
Yes.
Why have they not picked them up?
Yes, we need justice.
Why have they not picked them up?
We need justice for Big Joe and all the Nigerians and Africans that have died.
Certainly, we will not get justice. He will not get justice. They are complicit.
Yes.
That's my pain, Oji, this morning. Big Joe, I feel pain this morning in my heart. Big Joe will not get any justice there as long as he was killed on South African soil, because they are all complicit. Let's call a spade a spade.
All right. We demand justice for Big Joe and every Nigerian that have been killed out there in South Africa. And of course, other Africans that have suffered this xenophobic, Afrophobic attack. Let's now highlight some security developments this morning. In Borno State, ISWAP terrorists stormed a school in Lassa, abducting 2 teachers and over 20 students writing their NECO exams. But Operation Hadinkai responded swiftly, quickly deploying fighter jets and ground troops, and rescued 10 victims unharmed. Sadly, 1 soldier and a CJTF member were killed in the firefight. The rescued vice principal recounted the moment of the escape, saying when the aircraft started hovering, the terrorists scattered, and that's how they escaped. Meanwhile, reactions are trailing President Donald Trump's claim that U.S. military intervention had largely ended the killing of Christians in Nigeria, with the northern branch of the Christian Association of Nigeria insisting that Trump's comments were false and dangerously detached from reality. CAN chairman Joseph Hayab says Nigerians are still being killed and abducted across several states, describing Trump's statement as a political claim based on misleading advice, saying only Nigerian Christians themselves are qualified to determine whether Trump has actually succeeded. Meanwhile, the General Overseer of the Redeemed Christian Church of God, Pastor Enoch Adeboye, has come to the defense of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, saying those blaming him for Nigeria's worsening insecurity are being unfair. He argued during a gala in Washington, D.C., that a commander-in-chief's duty ends with directing the military, and that should be enough. Let's take a look.
I don't support those who are
accusing the president of not doing enough. When the commander-in-chief had given instructions to his subordinates, he has done his bit. You don't expect him to go and put on khaki and big. When my friend Trump gives instruction to go and bomb anywhere, he doesn't leave White House. He has done his bit. I hereby command, bomb Iran. And then he goes to his bedroom and sleep. The rest is left to those who are supporters. So what he told the military officers, I don't know. All I know is that on Christmas Day, a bomb landed. Maybe just to let us know. I mean what I'm saying.
All right, Nigerians online are divided. Some agree the military must be held accountable for executing the president's directives. Others insist leadership must be measured by results on the ground. And I'll take some reactions on X. M wrote, the hypocrisy is crazy. During Jonathan's time, things weren't even this bad generally, yet they were everywhere, with mics condemning the government. Now the country is on its knees under Tinubu, and suddenly the commander-in-chief doesn't wear camouflage. The double standard is wild. He went further saying, comparing the White House to the Situation Room in Nigeria is wild. One is giving instructions for drone strikes. The other is giving instructions to the economy while it's on life support. Pastor Adeboye defending Tinubu with a Trump analogy was not on my 2026 bingo card. You have a bingo card. Well, you know what? Finally, Skillful wrote, so if the president has done his bit by giving orders and the killing and kidnapping of innocent Nigerians continue like it's a norm, we should just sit back and clap for him that he has given orders while waiting for us to be the next victim. That's the question, Dr. Abati.
Okay, very quickly. As for what Pastor Adeboye said, I think people have been taking it out of context to say that, oh, he's praising President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. What I heard him say and what I read is that he said, well, President Tinubu has done his bit. He has given the directives to the military commanders to deliver results. He added the caveat that he also advised the president that you have to give these military leaders an ultimatum. Give them maybe 90 days. If you don't deliver in 90 days, then of course you will be removed from the position and then somebody else will be put there. I think basically he was emphasizing the urgency of the problem, not necessarily praising President Tinubu. And he was also saying that, in fact, the matter has gone so bad in Nigeria that terrorism has reached its own doorstep. Alpha is J4, Ugbiri, along the Lagos-Benin highway to where the headquarters of the RCCG is. So I just thought that, people should not take it out of context. The General Overseer was also saying that, look, we are all involved in this. The other story you brought up there is about the security problem. Now, on May 13, May 14, there was an attack in this same Borno state,
yes,
in Askira Uba,
yes, area.
The following day, there was also another attack in that axis. The same day they attacked and took 41 people from Orire local government. There was also an attack in Askira Uba. And now yesterday, there was this attack in Lassa village, which was the major spot for Lassa fever in Nigeria. And that's why that village is called Lassa. And teachers were killed, children were taken away. Okay, small win for the Nigerian Air Force. They were able to, rescue some of the persons. One teacher was killed, another was injured, some other persons were rescued.
Yes.
So as we always commend the military authorities, yes, okay, this is a good development, but they are overstretched.
They are overstretched.
Which is the point that those Christian leaders, Northern Can, were making. And I said yesterday, Trump did not say he's a messiah in Nigeria. He said that the terrorists in Nigeria are being they've been heavily weakened. That was the phrase that he used. He said, we killed their first leader, we killed their second leader, we killed their third leader. And Nigeria has become a place where Dr. Goka of the National Security Council of the US said the kind of weapons that they've been able to rescue or intercept from Nigeria, they didn't even see those weapons in America during September 11. So there is a consensus that the situation is serious, is getting worse. What we can encourage is continued cooperation, partnership with the Americans and others, and also for the Nigerian government to continue to intensify its efforts.
Yes, fantastic. You wanted to quickly say something about Adeboye.
Dear Daddy Adeboye, we thank you for your forthrightness and your constant insights. On the 2nd of February 2020, you went on something called a prayer walk, where you were holding placards with all your church members that all souls are sacred. Other participants held placards reading, "We say no to terrorism and every life matter." The work was duplicated roughly across 25,000 RCCG parish, mobilizing millions of Christians to pray for intervention against terrorism and all of that. Daddy, please, at this point in time, do that prayer walk again. If you did it in 2020, now that things are worse off, I think you should do it again. That's what we encourage people like us. You did it before, Daddy. Do it again.
All right. I'm getting reports from
Sefini Laba.
Sefini Laba. I'm getting reports from the Air Force again about the vice principal of the Government Day Secondary School in that Lassa community. His name is Paul Namaske. He said terrorists attacked on Monday. He said that the attack and the series of events that led to the rescue of over 20 victims were led by the Nigerian Air Force. So kudos to the Nigerian Air Force as well. I just wanted to read out his name as well and to make sure that we know that this is also, in collaboration with the Nigerian Air Force at this moment. Now, here in Lagos, distressing scenes of catastrophic floods have taken over social media, with torrential rainfall submerging homes, roads, and entire communities from Bagada to Mushin to different parts of the island. In clips that emerged on Sunday into Monday, scores of residents were left stranded or struggling to save their property. Let's take a look.
Lagos is mess. Dirty section.
Room select. Yes, so. Room select. Affordable price. Yes. Very cheap. Yes. Yes, so. Yes. Let me show you. This is the back camera. 50K, 50K. Our 1 year. Our house. This year, we want to live. The location, mainland Lagos, Iwaya. MFM Road.
You can say.
I don't know what happened, but this time around, this flood is no longer moving. It's just one place. I know that something have, blocked the channel or something. I don't know, or the coastal road. This is too much. Like, this is small. This is my area. I have not seen this kind of flood in my area before.
This canal is one of the biggest canals in Lagos, and look at the easy flow of water. But look at this. Look at how clogged this place is. Lagosians, don't drop your waste in your gutters. Dispose your waste properly.
This is unbelievable.
Modern
This is a
Lagos.
story we hear every
Lagos.
single raining season. The Lagos State Commissioner for the Environment, Tokunbo Wahab, says the flooding is temporary and will recede. But residents say they have heard that before. Blocked drains, poor planning, abandoned canals. The problems are known, but the solutions are overdue. I mean, we have all experienced this. This morning, I was driving through Ikoyi. You said, don't mention your location. But Ikoyi was flooded. I know you're excited. You want to speak on this.
In the city of aquatic splendor.
Modern Lagos.
Let me just say that.
Water in the city of aquatic splendor.
I don't like to denigrate Lagos State because this is my state. I'm very proud of it. But this is a shame for a 21st century state.
Lagos.
That look at. Let me tell you.
Father built Lagos.
Aside from the massive, disgusting trash, is the fact that young child could have been seriously harmed. Did you see that child they lifted up to? So these are preventable things that we've often talked about.
With due respect,
doesn't
it flood in America? Doesn't it flood in South Africa? Doesn't it flood in Ghana? So what are you saying?
It's not a normal thing.
Lagos. It's modern Lagos.
It's not a normal thing.
Vestiges of modern Lagos.
Please
stop it.
Allow
Let me finish.
I'm defending my Lagos.
No. This is my Lagos.
Yes.
And it is quite sad that we keep having these conversations every year. Yes. I'm not saying that you will not have flash floods. Like Fai rightly mentioned, you have it in other big cities around the world. But what we then do is to mitigate the impact and the extent of the flood. However, what we've seen this year in Lagos is that even in areas that were not prone to flooding in the past, which the Commissioner of the Environment did agree with, some places in Victoria Island and the likes, they're now being flooded. Yes. And so we need to actually look at certain developments, to keep talking about the canals. There must be no sacred cows. We cannot have a modern Lagos regress.
All right.
So well done to what they've done so far, but not near enough.
I wanted to highlight that last section of that video where this woman is saying, please, guys, don't throw your trash in the drain. And this is one of the biggest issues here. They are playing the major role concerning this flooding. We saw that. That is unbelievable. This is unbelievable. I mean, it's the most disgusting thing I've ever seen from us.
I was in Calabar over the weekend, and the flood was terrible. So we put a lot of spotlight on Lagos, but I'm also calling on governors across the states that they have issues around, not security. Calabar was very flooded as well. So there are other parts of the country that we must talk about.
I'm still talking about sanitizers. Speaking about that, Lagos, over the weekend, Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu led by example as he rolled up his sleeves to take part in Saturday's monthly environmental sanitation exercise in Surulere. The governor was joined by Environment Commissioner Tokunbo Wahab as the team physically cleared refuse and debris from the streets. Let's take a look. But this is exactly the kind of leadership Nigerians want to see. A governor on the ground. Sanwo-Olu also announced 150 new compactor trucks and a modern recycling facility before putting shanty occupants on final notice, ordering the clearance of all illegal structures along the Lagos-Badagry Expressway. We know that Lagos is cleaning up, and the governor is leading from the front. Mr. Infrastructure.
Right on.
Yes, I always say, Eko Oni Baje. That is my own. I want Lagosians to be responsible and save the state, really. We'll take our next story now. The First Lady of Nigeria, Senator Remi Tinubu, is breaking her silence on the Akara controversy, speaking in Jigawa State on Monday, while announcing a 200 million naira support package for 2,000 female petty traders. The First Lady pushed back firmly, clarifying that her support extends far beyond Akara, sellers alone, and that it also extends to tomato, maize, and vegetable traders across the country. Let's take a look.
Because of the atmosphere and what is going on, I've told Her Excellency, that we've already donated about 100 million to her to use to empower 2,000 petty traders, women, to capitalize their businesses. And I know they've been talking that I said akara. It's not only akara. We also have tomato sellers, we have boli, and those also selling pepper, selling vegetables for us in the market. We will continue to empower them, add to their resources so that their trade can really be sustainable. So that is what we are doing, and I know all those people who are affected, they do appreciate it. And we are not intimidated by all those their wrong report, but we are forging ahead and making sure that our people, are well cared for. We continue to care in the capacity we have, the amount, but 2,000 women that are already in small businesses, they will recapitalize their businesses with 50,000 naira each. We've already given the 100 million.
We are not intimidated. We are not intimidated. Right. Wait, she said we are not intimidated.
But you see,
yes,
that word itself is what is wrong with Nigeria. So when did alternative voices become a form of intimidation to leaders?
Come on, if you get the sort of backlash that she received for the past, I don't know. I'm just saying that's what she said. I don't know. That's how it was. Nigerians remain divided online. Yeah.
The First Lady, even though it's not constitutionally recognized, has a lot more influence to really make a dent in empowerment programs. As I'll just say that, leave this to the local government. They are closer to the people for you. Let's think strategically.
All right.
Let's critical thinking. Let's upgrade our idea of empowerment, especially for women, whether rural or urban.
Right. All right. Fantastic. All right. Shall we now take our good news report with a truly remarkable story of young Nigerian excellence. 16-year-old Osare Okundaye has made history, becoming the youngest person ever to qualify as a chartered accountant in Nigeria. Okundaye earned the qualification through the Institute of Chartered Accountants of Nigeria, better known as ICAN, in a feat that typically takes graduates and seasoned professionals years of intense study to accomplish. The federal government has been quick to celebrate this incredible achievement, with the Minister of Youth Development, Ayodele Olawande, issuing a statement of congratulations on Monday, describing her achievement as a testament to hard work, discipline, resilience, and an unwavering commitment to excellence. The minister also paid tribute to the parents, teachers, and mentors whose support and sacrifice made her success possible. Congratulations, 16 years old and already a chartered accountant. She's an inspiration to every young Nigerian, reminding us all of what's possible with hard work and opportunity. You
well
done. 16.
My
daughter is 16. Let me just say, I keep calling her out.
16.
Yeah, she's 16. She's going to be. I've shown her the story. Congratulations. Now let's take our final story under entertainment. Afrobeat superstar Tems delivered an ethereal performance at the 2026 BET Awards in Los Angeles, California, singing her hit song, What You Need, from her 2025 EP, Love is a Kingdom. Let's take a look. Congratulations to Tems on this stellar performance. Afrobeats is not just a sound anymore. It's a global movement. Huge congratulations to Thames. On that note, I'd love to thank you all for your great analysis, as always, on What's Trending Today. Well, that's all I have for you guys on What's Trending Today. Here we have Love Me Jeje from Thames. Enjoy, and I'll see you all tomorrow.
Yeah, you want my sugar, my honey, I tend them.